What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Leo coming to you guys with yet another video. Coming to you guys today with a reaction video. We're coming at you from Cultaholic Wrestling with the title of the video: Every Shield member's World Championship reign ranked from worst to best. Now, the Shield has to be one of the greatest factions. I don't know. I mean, for some people it might be Evolution, NWO, LWO. Well, not current LWO, but old LWO, and stuff like that. But for me, it's the Shield. It's always and always will be the Shield. The Shield changed the wrestling business. Even when they came in, they made a statement and they showed everybody what they're capable of doing. And even as time went on, they had continued to show why they were in the spot that they were in. And even when they are not all under the same umbrella, whether they're on different shows or in Moxley's case a different company, they still showed that they are changing and evolving the business. So it really is cool to see how far their careers have come since they first debuted over a decade ago. So let's see what Cultaholic has to say and how would he rank these different title wins. But comment down below, let me know who was your favorite member of the Shield and what was your favorite member of the Shield's title win.
At Survivor Series 2012, three men made their main roster debuts and changed modern wrestling for good. Despite wearing turtlenecks that Steve Jobs himself would have looked at and gone, I'm not sure about that. Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, and Roman Reigns, collectively known as The Shield, would have a year and a half of dominance before splitting up, all to achieve massive success in their own right. We count 16 different world title reigns between the trio, spanning several years and multiple different companies. Speaking of which, the man now known as Jon Moxley had just won the IWGP World Heavyweight title as we recorded this sucker, so there was no way of us including it here. In this list, we are going to get to the bottom of which reign was the best and which deserves a triple powerbomb through the announce desk. I'm Adam Pachisi from Cultaholic Wrestling, and this is every Shield member's World Championship reign ranked from worst to best. Believe in the ranking. Number 16, Roman Reigns, WWE Championship, November 22nd, 2015. After over a year of trying to make Roman Reigns the new tippity-top guy, WWE finally coronated their new golden child, and then had him lose the belt a few minutes.
This was pretty much that era where people really weren't buying into Roman as a face, and the way I think a lot of people kind of looked at it, it was almost as a sense of like, it was anybody but Roman. They would have preferred anybody being world champion other than Roman. Like, you could have put the title on Hornswoggle and people would take Hornswoggle over Roman Reigns. And it's not that him in the ring was bad. Like, he put up some great matches. It's just his character and the way they were booking him. They were booking him as being his face when back then the fans made it clear that they wanted him to be a heel. And the fans, and for whatever reason, the WWE just weren't listening. They just were continue to push their agenda for him trying to be, in their vision, the top face and the top guy.
Minutes later, Reigns had defeated Shield brethren Ambrose in the finals of a tournament to crown a new WWE champion when Mr. Money in the Bank Sheamus turned up to ruin his day. Despite displaying some initial resistance, Reigns was felled by a brogue kick and pinned to end his reign in 5 minutes and 15 seconds. Remember, they made a t-shirt out of it. Not really much to say about a title reign that lasted less time than it takes to walk a big dog. However, Roman isn't the only Shield member to experience this sort of shame. Number 15, Seth Rollins, WWE Championship.
This was, let me finish this out and I'll talk about it.
We're the wireless company with nothing to hide. Seriously, hidden fees?
June 19th, 2016.
Now, this was I would say one of the most memorable moments in WWE history. This was very memorable in a sense of 3 people who were in the same faction all were world champion in one night. That is something that I don't think will ever be replicated again. And you had Roman come in as champion. You had Seth win it. And you had Ambrose, who won Money in the Bank early in the night, cash in to have that moment. That is a moment that's going to stand the test of time, that I think a lot of people will look back on, and it just shows the impact of what that really meant in the longevity of things, and how they were transitioning into something new and something different, with them right around the corner doing the brand split yet again. It just showed the monumental moment that this was, and I think for a lot of people it just doesn't get a lot of attention or a lot of credit, and a lot of people just don't look at it like that. But if you really go back, you really understand how special that moment really was when you go back and look at it. So has to be one of, and honestly for me, this is one of my favorite moments. One of my favorite moments as a wrestling fan.
At Money in the Bank 2016, something truly unexpected happened. And we're not talking about when Titus O'Neil kissed his son on the mouth. Never again.
No.
In the show's excellent main event, Seth Rollins defeated Roman Reigns to win his second world championship. And then all hell broke loose. Dean Ambrose, who had won the briefcase earlier in the night, turned up to cash in on his treacherous ex-comrade. Ambrose hit Dirty Deeds to pin Rollins and win his first world title. This actually meant that all 3 Shield members had held the gold on the same night, which we think is a pretty neat little statistic.
It is.
Still not much of a title reign for Seth, which is why it's all the way down here. Number 14, Seth Rollins Universal Championship, August 11th to October 31st, 2019. Speaking of Money in the Bank, Rollins was cashed in on again 3 years later by Brock Lesnar. You know, after he won the briefcase despite not...
Did he need it though? Like, let's be real. Did he really need that briefcase? Did he even need... It's Brock Lesnar. He can literally just ask for a title match. You think if he asked for a title match, anybody's going to question him? No, they weren't. They weren't. And I remember, looking into a lot of that stuff that was going on at the time in, like, the dirt sheets and stuff like that. Apparently, Mustafa Ali was supposed to win Money in the Bank. And it really sucked that he didn't. Like, even when he went out to make his entrance, he was still penciled in. But I guess as soon as Brock Lesnar showed up, Vince was like, nah, let's not give it to Mustafa Ali. If you want the briefcase, you want your championship, go out there and unhook the briefcase. Pretty much, Vince was like, screw everybody else. That's kind of how it felt. And I remember watching this, and I'm just like, it took me out. It took me out of the match, because it's like, why? Like, there was no need to put the briefcase on Brock Lesnar. There was no need for it. There was no need for it to even happen. If we want to be honest, like, it literally didn't do anything. It didn't do anything for anybody. It didn't benefit anybody in the long run. It didn't benefit Brock Lesnar. It didn't really benefit the company by just giving him another stat to add to his career, and that's it. People really saw past that. Like, nobody wanted to see him continue to get title match. Nobody wanted to see that. We wanted to see something new, fresh, and exciting. And Brock Lesnar, like, this was his character for, like, the last 3 years at this point. Like, this was 2019. He was doing the same character since, like, 2017. Like, nobody wanted to see that. So it's just one of those moments that I look back on. There was a lot of bad moments in the company, but this has to be like one of the worst that ever happened.
Actually being in the match. This led to a rematch for the Universal Championship at SummerSlam, where a heavily bandaged Architect beat the Beast to win back the bright red strap. He would then briefly feud with Braun Strowman before embarking on a truly memorable angle with The Fiend. Memorable doesn't mean good.
This was god awful. I'm sorry. This was god awful. You literally sacrificed 2 of your top stars, and you literally killed both of them in one night. Seth was already getting booed. It's not because of his in-ring work and stuff like that. The stuff that he was doing in the ring. It was stuff that he was doing outside of the ring that had the fans turn on him to the point where they had to turn him heel. That's because of that. And then you literally you didn't have to pull the trigger on this feud. This could have been a feud you could have saved for WrestleMania, if you want to be honest. This feud could have been saved for WrestleMania. You literally had something really red hot. People were loving this new character of Bray Wyatt, The Fiend, when he made his presence felt against Finn Balor at SummerSlam. People really seen something new, fresh, and exciting, and they were interested. They were invested to see what would happen next. Who would his next feud be? How would he embark on that feud? How would his feud be? Like, how would it ultimately, play out? People were invested in a lot of these things, and you put him against one of your other top stars, and you killed both characters in one night. And it's like one of the biggest wide WWE moments of all time. You didn't have to do this. You could have literally put Seth Rollins against somebody else. You literally could have put Seth Rollins against somebody else. You could have put The Fiend against somebody else and continued to build his character. I know I think one of the feuds that they were teasing was Bray Wyatt, The Fiend Bray Wyatt against Drew McIntyre. If they would have done that, I don't think people would have batted an eye. Nobody would have batted an eye. People would have been invested in that feud. But because you wanted to continue to just do dumb stuff and for no reason, with no logic and no long-term thought of how it can really play out, this is why you got what you got. And it sucked, man. It really sucked. And I think for a lot of fans, this was the moment where a lot of fans really started to tune out of WWE. Because they were just doing randomly dumb stuff. They had Brock Lesnar win the championship early in the year. And now you kill two of your top stars literally 3 months later. Like, come on, man.
Good, by the way. This was the storyline involving that Hell in a Cell match, the one that
The
almost
worst Hell in a Cell of all
single-handedly
time.
killed any interest in Bray Wyatt's alter ego. Rollins lost the title to The Fiend in Saudi Arabia, bringing this brief run to a lackluster end. Number 13.
To help save for our home, we stopped going on trips and giving each other expensive gifts.
Roman Reigns WWE Championship, December 14th, 2015.
Here's another one. This is another one. There's another one. You had him win the championship and won it. He lost it a month later. And I think this was the Royal Rumble that he's talking about. But even then, like, nobody wanted to see Roman as champion. They didn't. They didn't. Like I said earlier, it was anybody but Roman. And then you had Triple H be in the mix to use him to kind of help elevate him to being a face when people were not buying into Roman Reigns as a face whatsoever. They weren't buying into it. They seen right through everything that they were doing, and it wasn't working. It wasn't. And I think if this is what he's talking about, let me make sure he's talking about the Rumble.
Into January 24th, 2016. After having his celebration ruined by the Big Irishman, Roman Reigns set his sights on Sheamus and regaining the world title. This led to a match at TLC, which was good, but ultimately unsuccessful for our boy. Then, the next night on Raw, a minor miracle occurred. Reigns had a rematch with Sheamus and was actually cheered as a babyface for realsies. Sadly, whatever otherworldly power got Reigns over that night did not last, and he quickly lost the belt to Triple H at the 2016 Royal Rumble. As impressive as Reigns getting...
And people didn't even want to see Triple H either. And honestly, I don't know. I know some people have talked about it, but I'm just gonna, pretty much give my 2 cents. This was a time that they could have called an auto and had Ambrose win the WWE Championship and win the Royal Rumble. They really could have. Like, they really could have pulled an audible, and you could have created a more intriguing story going into WrestleMania. Because now you can have, could have been a moment you could have turned Roman Reigns heel. Roman feeling betrayed by his own brother. Roman seeing his brother carry around the championship that he wants. And this could have made him go into like a jealous rage and caused him to turn heel. And you could have had a brother versus brother match at WrestleMania 32. And this was a WrestleMania that it was probably going to be going down as one of the worst of all time because of some of the matches. And a lot of the star power was not existent. A lot of them were injured. Seth was injured. Neville injured. John Cena injured. Randy injured. Bray injured. A lot of top stars injured. Like, what are we talking about? And this could have been, and I feel like, on the outside looking in, that WrestleMania had all the potential in the world to be one of the very best of all time. But it wasn't. It wasn't. You could have had Ambrose win that match, and it would have made him a star. It would have sent him to that next level. It would have made him a megastar. Because for one, the moment would have been the crowd would went crazy because the crowd loved Ambrose. He was like the most lovable member of the Shield. He was the guy that a lot of people liked. When the Shield broke up and disbanded and everything like that, that was the guy that a lot of people wanted to see be pushed. But it was never the case. It was always Seth and Roman. But Ambrose was the guy that a lot of people wanted. Like, think like the crowd would have went crazy for one. It would have made headlines for sure. Don't get me wrong. For one, like I said, it would make, and another thing, it would have made him a star because for one, he had a match early in the night, and that match had to be one of the best matches on that card. He literally had a match with Kevin Owens in a last man standing match for the Intercontinental Championship, and for him to win that, but not only just to win that, but go on later in the night and win the WWE Championship and win the Royal Rumble, and he's holding the Intercontinental and WWE Championship. That would have been something a lot of people would have talked about. That would have been a history-making moment, and the WWE failed to capitalize on it.
Cheered on Raw was, it doesn't make up for what was a pretty unimpressive 6 weeks with the gold. Plus, this was around the time of the Tater Tots promo, which certainly doesn't help things.
Cringe
Number
promo.
12, Seth Rollins Universal Championship, April 7th to July 14th, 2019. Before Brock Lesnar beat him using the briefcase he never should have won, Rollins had reigned for 98 days as Universal Champion. He had actually beaten Brock for the strap at WrestleMania 35 in the night's short but sweet opener. He then had a corker of a match with AJ Styles at Money in the Bank to keep his momentum going, and then Baron Corbin showed up for 3 back-to-back pay-per-views.
This might just make some people laugh, but if you're a wrestler and if the company doesn't care about you, and they don't care about your reign, and they want the fans to turn on you, they'll put you in a feud with Baron Corbin for the world title.
Rollins defended the title against the power-mad authority figure of Raw and his stupid waistcoat. The matches were all pretty boring, the promos were repetitive and lazy, and things got somehow worse when Becky Lynch and Lacey Evans were thrown into the mix. How can you have...
Again, why? The only thing that match was known for is Baron Corbin hitting the end of days on Becky. That was the only thing memorable about that match.
That little chemistry with your actual romantic partner. Hey, maybe Brock cashing in wasn't such a bad thing after all. Number 11, Roman Reigns Universal Championship, August 19th to October 22nd, 2018. It's hard to talk about this reign because so much of it is clouded by the circumstances of its ending. Roman Reigns had won his first Universal Championship at SummerSlam 2018, finally beating Brock Lesnar to end the Beast's seemingly unbreakable grip on the belt. This set up Roman's next program with Braun Strowman, leading to their Hell in a Cell match the following month.
And Braun Strowman was very over at this point. I don't understand. It was very baffling. He's very over, but yet they turn him heel. Like, come on now. Like that was just a why moment.
Fortunately, this was when Lesnar chose to return and somehow end the match in a no contest. Sadly, we never got a resolution to this story, as Reigns would announce on the October 22nd edition of Raw that his leukemia had returned. He vacated the title and temporarily left the company to receive treatments. Thankfully, Reigns made a full recovery and came back better than ever, but...
And I believe, if he never did get leukemia, the plan in place was to have that Shield triple threat at WrestleMania 35 for the Universal Championship. And I believe it would have been a situation where I believe Ambrose and Rollins were the final 2, and both of them would have eliminated each other, setting up both of them going after Roman Reigns for the championship. So I really wish that would have happened because I think a lot of people really, I think that's still one of the biggest things that I think a lot of fans want when it comes to the Shield is to finally get to see them throw down at WrestleMania for a championship for the world title. So hopefully, maybe within the next couple of years, we'll finally get to see that. So we never know.
This shocking revelation cut short what could have been a fascinating time on top. Number 10, Roman Reigns WWE Championship, April 3rd to June 19th, 2016.
Only thing this reign that he's talking about here, the only great match he had, and it was two matches. AJ. This is probably like his best reign as WWE champion. Like just solely WWE champion. We're not talking about when he was holding both titles. No, he's probably gonna get that to later. But like just WWE champion by itself, this was it.
Like Seth Rollins would do 3 years later, Roman Reigns won a world title at WrestleMania and immediately went into a feud with AJ Styles. The Big Dog and the Phenomenal One would have 2 banging matches at Payback and Extreme Rules. Then Seth Rollins made his comeback, leading to their aforementioned stonker at Money in the Bank. All 3 of the major title defenses Reigns had during this time were great, but what drags this run down is its short length, just 77 days, and how it began. Roman won the title from Triple H in the main event of WrestleMania 32, aka the most boring thing to have ever happened in the history of humanity. The 2 men slowly bopped each other for about half an hour as the crowd in Texas either sat on their hands or booed whenever Reigns got on top. Honestly, it was painful. Number 9.
I'm glad I didn't go to this WrestleMania, and I had plans to go to this WrestleMania. I'm glad I didn't because I would have just been bored out of my mind. Like, I would have just left at this point. Like,
9. Jon Moxley AEW Championship, September 21st to November 19th, 2022. Let's head over to AEW now, where the former Dean Ambrose has been the big man on campus 3 times.
Yeah.
After CM Punk decided to go after everything with a pulse at the All Out 2022 media scrum, the company vacated his world title and set up a tournament to find it a new home. The final came down to Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson, and the ex-Shield man came out victorious to start his record-setting 3rd stint with the belt. Despite only reigning for 59 days, Moxley still found time to defend his prize against Adam Page and Penta, losing approximately 60 pints of blood in the process. He lost the title to MJF at Full Gear after William Regal did William Regal things and turned on him. A short reign, but with good matches and a satisfying conclusion. Number 8, Jon Moxley AEW Championship, June 26th to September 4th, 2022. We are counting Moxley's time as AEW's interim champion here after CM Punk's foot fell off. Seriously, Punk's AEW world title reigns were cursed. The Brawler...
Yeah, it's crazy to think Moxley had so many different world title reigns. It's like some that I forgot how you won like one of the reigns. I know this was a good match. Like one of my favorite matches for Forbidden Door that year. I think they also had like Orange Cassidy versus Will Ospreay, which is another one of my favorite matches from that card. So that was one of it. Like he had so many different reigns because he won it from Jericho, then he won it from he kind of won the interim here, and then he kind of won it. Then he won it from Punk, kind of like unifying and then losing a year late, like a week later. Was kind of crazy. Like you could have kept this reign going just a little bit. I don't know. I'm not gonna even get into that.
Won the gold at the first Forbidden Door event, beating Hiroshi Tanahashi for the privilege. He then went on a rampage, no, not that one, putting on clinics every week with the likes of Konosuke Takeshita, Brody King, Roosh, and Chris Jericho. He then decisively beat Punk to become the lineal champion before losing to him a week or so later at All Out. And then came the press conference, the explosive comments, the tasty muffins. Moxley did an amazing job at steadying the ship during a difficult period for AEW, proving that he could be relied upon to carry the company should he need to. Number 7, Dean Ambrose WWE Championship, June 19th to September 11th, 2016. We've already talked a bit about Moxley's one and only world title win in WWE, the one that started when he cashed in Money in the Bank on Seth Rollins in 2016. However, what we haven't mentioned is just how disappointing his actual time with the gold was. He retained over Rollins and Reigns at Battleground and was drafted...
Yeah, I I really wish his WWE. I think a lot of people were happy to see him WWE champion, but the WWE just, I feel like, never really got behind him as being a main event guy. They always seen him as being like this upper card type of talent, that they can slot into the main event scene if they need to, but they just never seen him as being that guy. And I think when you compare his reign to like Rollins and Reigns, they've had more, you know, bigger matches to keep that championship to where that championship reign that they had has weight to it. But for Ambrose, he didn't. He was facing Dolph Ziggler, and it's not the Dolph Ziggler, but the way he was being presented, he wasn't being presented as a threat whatsoever. And then he faced AJ where he lost. And I believe he talked about this in I think his book, what he wanted to do during that match when they wanted to do a double turn where it would have had Ambrose turned heel and then had AJ become a face because people loved AJ. They were kind of cheering Ambrose just a little bit, but they were booed, so he was more like in that tweener role at that point. But this would have been a great decision to kind of have him turn heel, like at the time that they were in, because SmackDown in 2016 was like some top tier stuff. I think a lot of people can agree. Like SmackDown in 2016 and early 2017, it was just a true sight to see.
To SmackDown in the revived brand split. He then had a bizarre title defense against Dolph Ziggler at SummerSlam before his reign ended after 84 days at the hands of AJ Styles. Or should that be at the feet of, seeing as Styles punted him in the knob to get the win. Still, that initial moment of Ambrose finally getting one over on Rollins was just so good, so we decided to put this reign above two of his runs in AEW. I should get the comments going. Number 6, Tyler Black Ring of Honor Championship, February 13th to September 11th, 2010. Before he was the Monday Night Messiah.
This might be a hot take. This might be a hot take for some. For me, Seth Rollins is probably one of the greatest Ring of Honor World Champions of all time. Like, he had some great matches, and I think his character, I think he was slowly transitioning into being WWE, going into WWE while he was still in Ring of Honor, and I think they had like a story between him and I think was Roddy, if I'm not mistaken. And he was like being a heel, and he was pretty much trying to pull a CM Punk move where his contract with Ring of Honor was expiring, and he was heading to WWE, and he was threatening to take that championship to the WWE. So I think he was playing a great heel role back then. So I'm very excited to see how he's transitioned from being in Ring of Honor, because he was putting up some great matches, and what he's doing, what he's been doing in WWE, and like what he's been doing over the last couple of months. I know he is on the injury shelf, so wishing him a speedy recovery, and hopefully comes back better than ever.
The Authority's pet project, or Mr. Becky Lynch, Seth Rollins was a young prodigy in Ring of Honor by the name of Tyler Black. At the age of just 23, Black defeated Austin Aries at Ring of Honor's 8th anniversary show to win the promotion's World Championship. He would carry the belt for 210 days before dropping it to Roderick Strong on his way to WWE. Black's developmental deal was actually worked into his ROH character, as he threatened to take the belt with him to the Fed. This made him a detestable heel, and the moment Strong beat him, even sweeter. A nice long reign, plenty of great matches, and a thrilling conclusion. Overall, this was a great reign from a time where the architect was just a set of blueprints. Number 5, Seth Rollins WWE Championship, March 29th.
This reign, I feel like, for some, they look at it as rare. They don't give it a lot of credit, but this was a great reign. I think this was like one of my favorite reigns, like world title reigns, I would say, for like the last 10 years. This is like one of my favorite reigns. That might sound crazy, but this is one of my favorite reigns over the last 10 years. He had some great matches. His first match with Randy. Then he had his feud with Roman, and then Ambrose, and then competing with Brock and John Cena, and then Sting. He had some great reigns during his time as champion.
to
Not reigns,
November
but
5th,
matches.
2015. The heist of the century. The moment when Seth Rollins interrupted the main event of WrestleMania 31, inserted himself into the WWE title match, and pinned Roman Reigns to win the belt in grand fashion. It is easily one of the best Mania endings of all time, and set Rollins up for what would be, on the whole, a pretty good title reign. The early days were a little rough. His first pay-per-view defense against Randy Orton was hardly inspiring, but things got much better as time passed.
When he became the first person to hold the WWE US Championship. The only person to ever do that. He's a 2-time Grand Slam champion. So, I mean, a lot of people, I think, right in this, I'm not trying to compare. I don't like comparing people, but this makes sense for me. Seth Rollins, current day, he is a mixture of Shawn Michaels and Chris Jericho. Shawn Michaels was one of the best in-ring workers. Seth Rollins is one of the best in-ring workers. The reason I have him with the comparison of Chris Jericho, because if you think about Chris Jericho, he is good in the ring, but his character work, he's always evolving his character. Like, this is what I like about Seth Rollins. He is always continuing to elevate his character to stay relevant in the WWE. Not many people can say they have been able to evolve and become a new character over and over and come up with these bigger than life characters that get the WWE universe fully engaged. Not many people can say that they have been able to do that, but the fact that Seth Rollins can say that he has really just shows how creative he really is.
He had a series of fun bouts with John Cena, an excellent match with Neville on Raw, and was set to face Roman Reigns at Survivor Series before his knee exploded at a house show in Ireland. Still, this was the reign that helped put Rollins on the map, and that initial title win will live on forever. Number 4, Seth Rollins WWE World Heavyweight Championship, May 27th, 2023 to April 7th, 2024.
Him becoming world champion. This is during the time Roman Reigns wasn't really there. They had to come up with a new championship. They became the World Heavyweight Championship. A lot of people looked at it as being a secondary title, but Seth Rollins made that title be on par or feel just as important as the title that Roman Reigns was holding. And he had some great matches, from Finn Balor to Jey Uso to Drew McIntyre. He had legitimate contenders, and he had some banger matches from start to finish.
With Roman Reigns defending his undisputed WWE Universal title once in a blue moon, WWE decided to introduce a new world title that would be defended with much greater frequency. The WWE World Heavyweight Championship would be exclusive to the Raw brand, the inaugural champion decided via a 12-man tournament. Rollins prevailed over AJ Styles in the stirring tournament final at Night of Champions 2023. Though it was widely acknowledged as the secondary world title, Seth freaking Rollins did everything he freaking could to make the belt freaking mean something. He had good to great televised title defenses against Damian Priest, Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, Drew McIntyre, Jinder Mahal, and hell, he even went to NXT and gave Bron Breakker a shot at it too. On premium live events, he put it on the line against Finn Balor, Drew McIntyre, and Shinsuke Nakamura in typically hot matches, not to mention plenty of defenses on non-televised shows too. A fighting champion who worked really hard to give the title prestige, Rollins dropped it to McIntyre in a rousing scrap on night 2 of WrestleMania 40. And then Drew immediately lost it to a cashing-in Archer of Infamy as Seth went for a well-earned rest. Number 3, Jon Moxley AEW Championship, February 29th to December 2nd, 2020. At Revolution 2020, Jon Moxley defeated Chris Jericho to become just the second ever AEW World Champion. Mox would keep the title for 277.
Honestly, there's got to be another hot take, but this, for me, Moxley is one of the greatest AEW champions that we've had right now so far. Yes, I know we have Kenny Omega, we had MJF. They've had some great reigns, but Moxley, he had some great reigns. He had great matches during his reign as champion. like going from like helping elevate these other stars even in defeat, like from Penta to Darby to Broly RIP. Like he's, even though those guys lost to Moxley, but he brought them up at the same time to help elevate those guys to be big future stars in the future.
Days, helping to grow the company from ambitious startup to major player. He took on all comers: Mr. Brody Lee, Brian Cage, Darby Allin, Jake Hager, Eddie Kingston. All of them stepped up and were put down. Even the way he dropped the strap was cool, as he was put away by Kenny Omega after interference from then Impact employee Don Callis. This is easily one of the greatest world championship reigns of the modern era.
Yep.
Oh, it was good, but not quite as good as number 2, Roman Reigns' undisputed WWE Universal Championship, April 3rd, 2022.
When he won he unified the Universal and WWE Championship together at WrestleMania 38 and holding that championship. Until this past year's Mania, holding that championship for about 1,300 days, if I'm not mistaken. Like, that's a reign that I don't think a lot of people will ever see again. Like, in our lifetime, we're not gonna see another person hold this championship for that long. So it really helped elevate Roman to that GOAT status.
To April 7th, 2024. We have decided to treat everything that came after Roman Reigns unified the WWE and Universal titles at WrestleMania 38 as their own thing. If you disagree, then we would like to see you come up with a better way of sorting this mess out, and then we'll steal your idea. He may have defended the belts less than 10 times since then, but each one of these matches has felt special. Well, maybe not the one against Riddle on SmackDown, but still. Drew McIntyre at Clash at the Castle, Logan Paul in Saudi Arabia, Sami Zayn in Montreal. Many thought that Roman's reign would come to an end in the main event of Night 2 of WrestleMania 39, yet he walked out of the show having defeated Cody Rhodes. Many called it a major blunder at the time, but the American Nightmare's eventual triumph in the main event of Night 2 of WrestleMania 40 ended up feeling just that much sweeter because of it, as the head of the table finally dropped the belt in the most incredible fashion. Number 1, it's him again, Roman Reigns Universal Championship, August 3rd.
After the Universal Championship was being cursed, he made that championship just special. He made that title mean something. He legitimized that title. And this was a title people wanted. This is the title that people were going after. So that just shows you it's not that what the championship can do for you, but it's what you can do for the championship. It goes to both ways, and he's definitely excelled at both.
30th, 2020 to April 3rd, 2022. If you look at Roman Reigns' time as Universal Champion between Payback 2020 and WrestleMania 38, you get one of the most unique, varied, and revolutionary title reigns of the last 20 years. Since Reigns beat both Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman for the big blue belt, he has gone from strength to strength. His 2 title defenses against cousin Jey Uso were easily some of the most emotionally charged wrestling matches in recent memory, as he gaslit and manipulated his bloodline brethren into following his cause. Then came his wars with Kevin Owens, the exceptional triple threat at Mania 37, the SummerSlam match with John Cena, all the battles with Brock Lesnar, a truly astonishing body of work. For his career-changing work as Universal Champion, we simply had to take this opportunity to look at Roman Reigns and acknowledge him.
Yeah, man.
As
I can't even say anymore. Like, he broke everything down to the T. Like I said earlier, the Shield changed the wrestling business. It didn't matter if they were in the same company and under the same umbrella, or if they were on different shows, or in Moxley's case, a different company. They still find ways to elevate and evolve the business. They changed the game. They changed the business. And man, I'm gonna say right now, they are gonna go down as one of the greatest factions of all time to ever do it. All of them are going to be first ballot Hall of Famers for what they were able to accomplish together and individually. But that is the end of the video, guys. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit that post notification bell so every time I post a new video. We're on the road to 200 subscribers. The ultimate goal is 10K by the end of this year. When I do hit 10K, one of you lucky fans will have the opportunity to win a WWE Championship from WWE Shop. So if you want an opportunity to add to your collection, start your collection, subscribe to the channel. It's absolutely free. You can always change your mind in the future, but why would you want to do that? I'm trying to give you guys daily wrestling content. But like, hit the like button. It helps on the algorithm so my channel can push across the platform, so more people can see what I'm doing over here on YouTube. Hit the post notification bell so every time I post a video, whether it's a reaction video, rant video, live stream, any type of video, you could be in the loop of things when I do drop a video. But that is the end of the video, guys. I hope everybody has a great day, a great week, and I'll see you guys in the next video.